Okay, so my test video that I just recorded turned out alright. I just kind of skipped through it and it seems to have recorded what I'm saying fine. And actually what I'm saying is most important. You don't necessarily have to see me to get the benefit of this, but this video should be anti-choice determinist number 31 is what this should be. And today I'm going to be talking about vegantinatalism, which is just a way of saying vegan antinatalism. Because I haven't really done videos on the topic of antinatalism, but I feel that it's time that I should, and there's several reasons why. Okay, so I bring it up in podcasts occasionally. It comes up, this whole antinatalism thing. And other vegan activists who record videos on veganism also cover antinatalism occasionally. And recently in the antinatalism Facebook group on Facebook, people bring up questions about veganism, like who in here is vegan, you know, and does antinatalism and veganism, do they go along, are they compatible? And I'm here to tell you that not only are veganism and antinatalism compatible, but one without the other doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to go into this. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with antinatalism, this is probably not the best video for you. There are other people who explain antinatalism much better than I do, like my friend Trick. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna overview. Okay, antinatalism is the idea that we should not procreate because by bringing somebody into existence, you are causing them all the suffering that they would endure in their life, and whatever suffering they throughout their life impose on others. So it's this idea that it's better to not cause new children to exist. So many people react very negatively to that because, you know, we've got Catholics, we've got Mormons, we've got weird people in this world who pop out babies like the Duggars, you know. And so that's the thing, is people don't get it. They could be like, oh, what could be wrong with having babies? And there are several things wrong. And you may not get this. Okay, look, if you are a religious person, go away. You're probably not going to understand this, okay? And if you are a carnist, if you have no trouble with eating meat, dairy, eggs, honey, or using leather, you know, or whatever, you know, because you don't care about the suffering of the animals involved, then you're also not going to understand this. But if you already understand the antinatalist philosophy and understand that you're bringing somebody into the world without their consent because a non-existent person can't consent, and that you're imposing suffering on them. Sure, they may experience happiness, but our evaluation of whether our own life is worth it is something that only happens after we exist and after we've grown up and we're an adult and we can really evaluate our life. But there's no reason nobody suffers by not existing. So antinatalism is rock solid logic, absolutely. It makes perfect sense once you understand it. On the other hand, if you're not familiar with antinatalism but you are a vegan, then you are probably going to understand antinatalism. And here's why. Because basically, here's what happens. Here's the goal of veganism. The idea is that if humans no longer buy, if nobody's eating these animal products and nobody buys them, then the companies can't make money off of it. It's basically the ultimate boycott of the meat, dairy, egg, honey industries, any industry that harms animals, because vegans are people who don't want animals to be harmed. And these industries, in order to function and for them to make money, they have to continually breed the animals. They have to continually selectively breed the cattle, the chickens, the turkeys to make them as fat as possible, to make them produce as much milk as possible. There's a lot of artificial selection going on to make these animals oversized and overproduce without any consideration on what harm that does to those animals. And first of all, my thing is that those other animals are just as valuable as us. And I would not want somebody to continually make me pregnant if I was a cow or whatever, you know, in order to have more babies. I wouldn't want that, and most human women wouldn't want that either. You know, but we do that to cows. We do that to pigs. I mean, well, I don't. But you know, carnists do, and the people who work in the industries themselves do. You know, you're paying them for it when you buy those products. And so, I mean, hopefully I shouldn't have to explain all of the reasons behind veganism. I mean, there's Earthlings, there's Cowspiracy, there's What the Health, there's Forks Over Knives, there's Vegucated. I mean, there's tons of vegan documentaries, tons of vegans who have been going at this for decades, okay? But the ultimate goal is that if everyone goes vegan, those farm animals, the domesticated farm animals, will no longer exist. They will no longer be bred, and they will completely cease to exist, pretty much, unless, of course, they're released onto some wildlife reserve, which I don't know. Who can say what's going to actually happen? But here's the point. Veganism is about anti-natalism for those animals. It is about not procreating those animals and not causing suffering. And one thing is for sure, if you don't procreate, if humans don't breed more humans, or if we don't breed more of the other animals, they can't suffer because they don't live. If they don't live, they can't suffer and they can't die. The only way not to die is to never live in the first place. It's brilliant. I mean, the logic of veganism is absolutely solid. I mean, there's absolutely no justification, no way whatsoever to argue against veganism, because when you argue against veganism, then you are arguing for the rape and torture and murder of all these animals. You're arguing for the damage to human health that happens as a result of them eating by these products. You're arguing for more pollution and contribution to climate change. When you argue against veganism, you are basically wanting everyone to suffer as much as possible. So if you're arguing against veganism, then look, you're too stupid. I'm sorry, you know, people they like to be politically correct, but yes, people are stupid. And people who, you know, defend carnism have to be stupid because they don't see that they are doing to others what they would not want done to themselves. They would never approve of somebody doing to them what they're doing to those animals. And so if everybody literally followed the golden rule, you know, do unto others as you would have done unto you, or the reverse, don't do to somebody else what you don't want them doing to you, you know, we would live in a very ideal world. Like, seriously, if everybody followed the golden rule, then, you know, well, actually, we would not exist because everybody would be anti-natalist and nobody would procreate if they really understood this. So, yeah, people don't get it, and I highly suspect that the majority of people won't get it. So, you know, I don't think that by me recording this video that everybody's going to go vegan overnight or that everybody's going to stop procreating. But, I mean, that'd be a nice thought, but you know, I've had this on my mind. I've had these thoughts eating away at me, you know, every day while other stuff's been going on, and I just haven't had the chance to speak it. And so I think, you know, maybe if I get my thoughts out there and tell everybody what I've been thinking recently, then I will have said it. That's all I need to say. And hopefully I won't have to repeat myself. I'll just refer people back to this video. So that's the idea anyway. So anyway, now, there is one other thing that I do want to cover. I think I can keep this video under 15 minutes. There is one other thing I want to cover that I think is important. Okay, so now, this is episode 31 of my anti-choice determinist video series. And as anyone who's watched that series, first of all, you have too much time on your hands because those are long videos. Second of all, the whole theme was about that I'm vegan and I'm against abortion because, you know, I don't like the murder of anything. I don't want anything to be killed, you know. I don't even kill spiders. I don't kill insects. And, of course, I don't want to kill those other animals. That's why I'm vegan. But people are confused. Like, they don't get, well, if you're anti-natalist, if you don't think we should procreate, why are you against abortion? And it's like, don't you, okay, it frustrates me that people don't get this because it makes perfect sense to me. Now, you can think I'm crazy, but my idea is that we should not procreate. My idea isn't that we should procreate and then murder our own children. That's silly. That's completely stupid. I mean, the idea, intentionally breeding humans only to kill them is as dumb as intentionally breeding chickens only to kill them. You know, it's like no vegan seriously would like abortion because you're intentionally breeding in order to kill. And I know there are going to be people who's out there who say, well, people don't intentionally procreate to kill their children. And they say, oh, well, things are an accident. You know, people just get pregnant by having sex. And I'm like, well, so that's what it comes down to, is people think that they can have a culture where they are intentionally seeking people out to have sex with. That's what dating is. That's what marriage is in this culture, really. People are going out and seeking people to have sex with. And then when there's an unwanted pregnancy, people are like, oh, this is an accident. How did this happen? You know, I mean, people are really, really dumb, which is why their parents should not have had sex and procreated them in the first place. And I know what you people are going to say. I already know it because I know how people are. People are going to say, yeah, but I like sex. People are going to keep having sex, Chandler, so shut up and while we have sex. Okay, go have your sex and quit watching my video, okay? If that's really how you feel, you're one of those people who are not going to get it. But, okay, so let's go over a few things. So since I'm against procreation, what about sterilization? All for it. What about birth control pills? Well, they don't really work. If they did work, we wouldn't be having this problem. You know, what about condoms? All for it. Yeah. See, I'm not some Catholic who's against condoms, you know, and against homosexuality, really. I mean, homosexuality is still gross, but so is heterosexuality. But the main point is, if people were not procreating, like if they found a way to have sex without procreating, I guess everybody all the men wore condoms, that would achieve the same result. Okay, you know, my thing is celibacy. I think, well, people could just not have sex; they could play video games instead. You know, that's my idea. We live lives of eating vegetables and playing video games. I mean, that's my ideal life, and I'm asexual, so of course it's, you know, that's my outlook on life. But people need to take this more seriously. Even if they are going to have sex, which I think is a really gross and disgusting thing anyway, and spreads diseases. Even if people are going to have sex, I still think they need to find a way to do it without procreating. And I think even my friend Trick Slattery would agree with that. But, you know, I just happen to be more idealistic and think, well, it doesn't cost any money to not have sex, but it does cost money to pay for sterilization surgery and all these other birth control methods, you know. So celibacy is still the best. It's still the ultimate solution. And all of the other solutions of birth control and sterilization are only second best or third best or fourth best solutions. They are not the best. And I'm all about the perfect. What is the ideal solution? So that is my stance. I believe I've said it. Celibacy is the best way for nobody to get pregnant and for nobody to have diseases and to not procreate, of course, obviously, and for there to be no abortions. Celibacy is the ultimate solution, but people are emotionally unable to accept this. So, I don't know. I hope that they get it someday, but even if not, I do hope that people who continue to have sex do so in a way that does not result in unwanted pregnancy. Because, you know, that's the thing is, I still don't like abortion. It's still the murder of a child, and it's better to never create them in the first place than to create them only to kill them at a young age like that. It just drives me nuts. And you may disagree. Abortion may be the coolest thing since sliced bread to you, okay? But I'm not going to debate you. All I've done is communicate how I feel about the matter and to help clear up some confusion that people may have about my videos and things I've said previously. So I think that's it. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.